Hey, it's Mary. Welcome to my channel. My very first video. It's book recommendations based on a couple different genres that I think are really good. If you're in reader's block or if you're trying to get into reading, you want to see what you're into, what you want to start with. So I think this can be a perfect little guide and books that I would recommend you on your very first read or your next read. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the first genre, which would be fantasy. The most popular one I could give you would be Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This book has TikTok in a chokehold. Everyone is obsessed with it, and it's truly a masterpiece. This book, a plague sweeps over a kingdom, and the survivors, they either get powers or they don't. So the ones with powers are called the elites, and the other ones are ordinaries. So our protagonist in this book, the main character, Peyton, she is an ordinary, and our main love interest, Kai, he is an elite. So it's basically forbidden romance because the kingdom has split into two sections, basically, and they're from the opposites. They're supposed to hate each other, but they fall in love. So that's what this book is about. It's truly amazing, really sweet. It's a little bit long, but I promise you it's totally worth it. Once you get into it, you'll be hooked. It's awesome. Okay, so this next one is a standalone that I haven't seen on TikTok that much. It's House of Hollow. Look at how pretty the cover is. Oh my god. You should get this just for the cover. I'm joking. The book is also truly, truly amazing. It's about three sisters who go missing on a Scottish street one night when they're out with their parents, and they go missing for a month and return in the exact same spot with no memory whatsoever of what happened to them. They're unharmed, but after a while, after returning, their appearances start changing, their hair color, their eye color, it all starts changing. And then as they grow older, strange, odd things keep happening to them. They are described in the book as so gorgeous, beautiful, and the way the crystal describes them is truly amazing. It's so beautiful. Love the way she has written this book, the writing, the plot, everything is truly amazing. They're three sisters, right? The older one goes missing, and the other two go on a quest to find her, and that's what the whole book is about. It's a really fun read, quick as well. I don't think it's that long. I mean, depends on what you define long as. But really fun. The cover is so pretty. The book itself, the writing, if I could describe it in one word, is pretty. Pretty, gorgeous, beautiful, amazing book. I think you should totally give this a go if you're trying to get into fantasy. This book is a fantasy and a little bit of horror. So if you're into that kind of stuff, this is totally the one you should go for. If you're starting fantasy as well, this is a nice way to start it. Super exciting, super cute. Love this book. Okay, so this next one is another series, but trust me, it's really good. It's the Shatter Me series. I don't have the first one on me right now, but if you're new to Book Talk and you've been hearing about this guy, Aaron Warner, and you're wondering who he is, what's all the hype about, where is he from, this is it. This series right here, this is where you get Aaron Warner, the Aaron Warner. This book series is about a girl named Juliet with a lethal touch, where if she touches anyone, they're gonna get killed. And she did kill a young boy with her touch, and then she got locked up in an asylum for it. And this book is kind of dystopian as well, so if you're into that, if you've maybe read some other dystopian books, or you're trying to get into dystopian books, you're into that, this should be your next read. The way this book is written, truly amazing. In the beginning, it's very easy to get into. Simple writing, simple plot, simple storyline. It does get more complex as you read more of the books, but the way she writes it, it's amazing, easy to understand, and so fun to follow along with. So yeah, that's my next recommendation. I'm obsessed with this series. This book made my summer last year. So yeah, this should be your next read. Totally amazing. So our next genre is mystery books, or thriller books, if you would say. These are so fun to read because while reading, even your mind is working trying to solve the mystery, and you're accusing characters, and then you turn out to be wrong or right, and it's so fun, so exciting, especially when writers throw in little plot twists to make it more interesting. So these are really fun, and if you're trying to get into mystery books, these are some of my recommendations that you would begin with. So our first book would be Murder is Easy by Agatha Christie. This is a quick read, definitely a quick read. So fun, really easy to read. It's about this officer named Luke Fitzwilliam who's on a train, and then he shares a carriage with this old lady, Miss Pinkerton, and she tells him that she knows about this killer who's been killing people. He's already killed 3 people, and she tells him that there's a local doctor who is the 4th victim. So Luke doesn't really believe this old lady in the beginning. He thinks she's probably just a psychotic old woman rambling on about rubbish. And then the next day, she's found dead. And Luke also finds out that that doctor who she had predicted would get killed, is also dead. So that's what the book is about. And the plot twist in the end, I'm not going to give any spoilers, amazing, totally unexpected. And Agatha Christie's books are a good way to get into mystery books because she's known as the queen of crime. Her books are amazing, all of them masterpieces, and this would be one of my favorite reads from her, and you should definitely read it. It's also like I said, short read, really fun book. So yeah, you should get into this. Okay, so this is my last one from Agatha Christie. It's Murder on the Orient Express. I've also watched the movie. This has been adapted into a movie. And this really had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. Definitely the best way to describe it. It's about a train that gets stopped in a snowdrift. And there's a man who lies dead in his compartment, which has been locked from the inside. Locked from the inside, remember that. And he's been stabbed a dozen times. And the killer is obviously still on the train, and no one's fessing up. So the detective, Hercule Poirot, must figure out who the killer is before, he attacks again. So exciting. I would also classify it as a thriller at the same time. Also a murder mystery. Super exciting. And yeah, the cover is really pretty, so you should also get that for the cover. An amazing read. Okay, next one. Now we're getting into the ones that are more popular on Book Talk. You want to guess what it is? It's The Inheritance Games. So I'm sure you've heard about this if you've been on Book Talk for like 5 seconds. It's about a girl named Avery. She's our main character. She's an ordinary girl, goes to high school trying to work for a better future. Smart ass kid. So one day this billionaire dies, and he leaves his entire fortune to this girl, Avery, and you have no idea how Avery and this old man are related. She's a complete stranger, and there's no reason you would think there's no reason that she should get the fortune. All of it has been gone to her. And then she has to move into his massive, big-ass mansion. Psychotic rich dude is how I would describe the old man. And he has 4 extremely attractive grandsons who are living with Avery in her new mansion, which she suddenly owns. So that's what this book is about. Twists, turns, and after Jennifer describes how magical and freaking royal-esque, eccentric, magnificent this mansion is. You feel like you're there. And you know, it's nice to feel like you're living in a rich person's mansion. So if you're trying to get into and read the more popular books on Book Talk that everyone's been ranting about, this is something that I would recommend. And it's like 4 books. All of them are amazing, and the grandsons are just another nice part of this book. So yeah, you should go for this one. So the last one from our mystery book recommendations is popular Book Talk one, Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Now, everybody's been ranting about this book. It's a total masterpiece. It's also been adapted into a TV show. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm really excited to watch it. This book is about a girl named Pip who studies a closed case that happened in her, a murder case that happened in her town for her final year project in school. So the case is closed because a girl named Andy Bell was killed by this man named Sal Singh. Everybody thinks he is the killer. Everybody is convinced that he's the killer until Pip starts looking into this case more and more, and we learn new things, new perspectives, and you start to think maybe Sal isn't the real killer, and the real killer could still very much be out there. So Holly Jackson wrote an absolute masterpiece. Love this book. Definitely one of my top 5 actually favorite reads ever. So yeah, you should definitely go for this one. It's amazing. And also the covers are awesome. I love ranting about covers. This one is gorgeous. Look at the other ones. Yeah, so that one. And moving on to the final genre, which is horror. I haven't seen many people read or get into horror books, but if you're trying to get into that, I have some really good recommendations for you. Probably my favorite ones that I personally enjoyed the most. So yeah, let's get into it. So the very first book is by Stephen King. It's Misery. It's a horror and thriller at the same time. So Paul Sheldon, he's a romance writer, and then he gets kidnapped. Yep, kidnapped by his number 1 fan. So this bitch who kidnaps him is psychotic. She is psychotic, she is crazy, and a terrifying lady. I'm terrified of her. She's actually a nurse. Who initially we think is really nice because she tried to save his life, but you'll learn that she is crazy. Definitely a little bit gruesome, a little bit. But yeah, this is so fun. Again, edge of my seat the entire time. You're so worried for this poor Paul guy. So Stephen King's books, if you're trying to get into horror or thriller books, definitely would recommend Stephen King. He is the king of horror, obviously. He's written some of the most popular novels that have also been adapted into films. So if you want to start with Stephen King. Misery would have to be one of my favorite books from Stephen King. So the next one, again by Stephen King. Sure you've heard of it. I don't have the hard copy, but it's It by Stephen King. I'm sure you've watched the movies. If you haven't, you totally should. Amazing book. It's definitely very long, but still super exciting to read. The book is about this evil clown entity that goes around terrorizing children in this town called Derry. And he basically feeds off of children. And he lives in the sewers. Yep, that's why the sewers terrify me. Not because they have shit in them. It's because Pennywise lives in them. And the book is about this kid. I mean, not about Georgie because he dies. He dies in a rainstorm. Pennywise gets him. And then his older brother, Bill, joins up with his friends to try and go and find this clown, solve the mystery of this weird clown thing that eats children. That's the goofiest way in which I could describe it. But it's honestly a masterpiece. So really, really scary, nerve-wracking, especially if you have a phobia of clowns. I definitely have that. And, the way in which it's written really, really freaks me out. Kept me up at night. So, yeah. If you're into some horror clown shit, this is for you. So the last book of the day and of the horror genre is again by Stephen King. I'm sorry, he's the king of horror and he writes the best books. It is The Shining. Again, it has been adapted into film. Film was a masterpiece, film was a success. So the plot is this family, 2 parents and a little boy, go to this hotel in Colorado, which gets shut down for the winter. So they're asked to stay in the hotel and be the caretakers while it's closed during the months of the winter. So they stay there, gorgeous hotel, they're having a good time until they realize that there is an evil presence in the hotel. And this presence destroys the family throughout the book. The father loses his mind. It's a terrifying book, and I would classify this as the scariest book that I have ever read, and the one that probably exists out there. Masterpiece, amazing. You should totally read this, or at least watch the movie. The Shining, definitely a masterpiece. It takes the throne for the horror genre in the entertainment industry, books and movies. And yeah, those are all the book recommendations that I wanted to give you. Really hope you enjoyed. If you read any of these or if you read them, do let me know your thoughts on them. And if you enjoyed them, what would be your favorite and what's your favorite genre of books? What are you most into? So yeah.